What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in, everyone. I see everyone: Andrew, Alpaca, Derek, Steven, Jefferson kind of came and went. Thank you guys so very much for coming in and stopping by from another fantastic live stream here on Sunday. This is, again, Sunday, October 18th. The year is 2020. Yes, it's been one heck of a roller coaster, and each week feels like it's been a month of trading. So let's go ahead and just kind of dive into. Currently, we're looking here at the S&P 500. This is the futures /ES via Thinkorswim, and it's up just a hair, a little bit over 0.5% here, looking around 19 points to the upside. Kind of just been trading in this little tight range here ever since we had that overall little bit of pop up on that following morning, and now it's kind of coming down here slightly, and just kind of just trading in this range here, where we're seeing here, again, within a couple percent from all-time highs. So from all-time highs, we can actually look at exactly how far we're. I think we're within 5%, I believe. Yeah, we're in 3.23% from all-time highs. So pretty significant going into the election. Again, the elections is November 3rd, if I'm stated correctly. Let me look at the time thing here. Yeah, it would be the 3rd. So not too far up as well. Yeah. We'll go ahead and just have a lot of fun with that. Alan, thank you for coming by. Alpaca, again, thank you guys for the ongoing support. We're going to be having a lot of fun today. Of course, if you guys haven't seen, I posted an earnings video on some very key earnings that are coming out this week. We got Netflix, we got Snap, we got Chipotle, we got Tesla. We have everything from Intel, Coca-Cola, two of the major airlines. We got AAL, which is American Airlines, as well as Love, which is Southwest, which I'm not really honestly touching with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, some people ask about them a lot. Steven says, I hope Amazon, Apple, Fastly, and I'll have a good week. Yeah, I'm in a couple of those. I'm definitely in Amazon, Apple. I think I did take a small position of Fastly on Friday. NIO, I haven't really touched. It's just kind of been running away from me, honestly, Steven. But yeah, Alpaca, you like the music? That's kind of like it's a very chill music, right? A little relaxing. That kind of like an elevator kind of vibe kind of thing. What up, Ryan? Thanks for checking in, my friend. Let's go ahead and Derek says, I'm new here. Okay, welcome, my friend. So Derek, what we just do, we kind of just talk about the markets, look at some charts, and just have some fun. And we'll just kind of go from there. So Amazon, yeah, let's just go ahead and just start off the fun with Amazon. Of course, Amazon just had a fairly stellar week with their Prime. I believe it was their Prime Day for 2 days, and really just had a pretty strange day coming into Friday here. Had a heck of a sell-off, but this candle right here was a great buying opportunity if you were able to buy it on the dip below that 50-day. Because it literally hit right off that 55 exponential move here and hit that really hard around that, right below that 3,200, around that 3,158, and it just came popping right back. Again, it was strange for whatever reason, but it's still remaining in the trend because it didn't close below the 21 EMA. It did have a little bit of scare, a little momentum, could be slowing down, but for whatever reason, it could have been in large order that could have just kind of created this little pulsating action here. But Amazon still in the overall just kind of trending sideways here, still staying above that 21 EMA and looking for it to kind of hold above that 3,200 potentially to kind of see how the overall other market kind of compares, and we can kind of go from there. Fastly, of course, Fastly took another pretty large dip here, again, due to them needing the old ticky-tacky. With this large move down, this move was, I wouldn't say welcomed, but it came down to some key levels, looking around that $89, $90 level. If this can stay above that $82 level, I think this could easily potentially start building a base. The only concern is we have earnings coming up. So it's going to be very important to see what the management team, CEO, and the overall investors react to on earnings. So very key point there. Not going to be taking a large position in that. Just might be just kind of trading some puts and selling some premium around those factors there. Michael says, ZM and Chegg, please. Yeah, ZM. Yes, ZM. Of course, that's Zoom. Ticker has had a fantastic week as well, really kind of holding that 5 and 8 moving averages and just continuing outperforming the market and just really just what's the right word? Flabbergasting me with the amount of just continuous, relentless amount of upward momentum it's had. Hitting a key level here around that 563 here. If that can continue, it seems insane, but that trend is looking for around 700. I'm not saying it's going to hit 700 tomorrow, but if this trend can continue, can stay above that 21 and 30-40 EMA, that is looking like a very, very strong stock. Downside support initially on the short-term side is going to be looking around 516, 515. A little bit stronger support around the 21 EMA is going to be around 480. So on that one. And then Chegg, so that's actually one that I have been keeping my eyes on because it's kind of made a very strong recovery from the bottom here. It's built, and it didn't get on my radar too much because it didn't really create a squeeze environment, which I like to see, and really kind of pulled back higher. But this thing has literally came back from the dead. You can see that with the 5 and 8 aggressively crossing through the 21 EMA here and just hitting these key levels here, pretty close to all-time highs as well. Of course, with earnings on the horizon, this definitely could potentially pop up above that 90, even to that $97 price target. So if earnings is fantastic and everything looks pretty like going full steam, that $97 is definitely going to be something to keep an eye on there. Michael Darkson says about pins. Yes, pins. I love me some pins. Pins is definitely, I think, the sleeper of this whole earnings season, I believe. I think pins can easily, as long as it stays above that 21 EMA on earnings, again, has earnings on the 28th, so not this week, the following week. If it can stay above that 21 EMA, which is around $42-ish, this can easily go to $53. I potentially can see with this very high momentum and movement that we're seeing in the market, can easily grind up to these levels here. Because again, this doesn't trade, it does trade, okay. Weekly options, they're saying a move about $7 currently where we're looking at, and that can easily hit to that $53 limit there. Downside support is going to be coming around $36 to even that $39 range to the downside there. Anyone know any good mushroom ETFs? I never heard of those, Alpaca. Ryan says put some Pelosi. Ryan says SBE. What is that one? That's the one. What is this? A SPAC? Right? Yeah, it's like a SPAC. I would forget. Is this the one that's turning basically everything into charging stations? Yeah, well, this is SPAC here. Definitely, this has been a very again, it's a SPAC, so you have to be very. I think, Ryan, you know that you have to be very careful and kind of keep it in a box. It's going to be very speculative. It's going to be very risky in that sense, which I know that you like to do, and you always go balls deep in things. So I'm not going to try to persuade you in another direction. But that 21 EMA is still kind of holding here. It's charge. So it's that EV charging stations. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, it's holding those to that 21 EMA pretty nicely. But again, it's a SPAC, so just be very careful out there. Have you ever thought about trading full-time? Derek, I have. It's just going to take a lot more capital than I have right now. And of course, it's just not that easy to just do the full switch. Peloton, that thing doesn't look like it will ever retrace. Kev, yeah, you and me both. I don't want to talk about Peloton. I bought Peloton at 26 and I sold it at 50. So yeah. I can't comment on that one. But that was way before the virus and everything. With this one, we talked about this one, a potential overhead resistance at 130. It's kind of trading in that range. It did have a huge burst higher to that 140 range. Honestly, if this trend wants to continue, by the trend, I mean, if it continues holding the 5 and 8 moving averages here, very short dated support to the downside is going to be around 126. A little bit more significant support's going to be coming around 112 to 110 to the downside. That's going to be the 21 and where that 618 EMA or the Fibonacci retracement comes in. But this is definitely one that could easily grind out to the 162 because why wouldn't it? Like it's just been grinding here higher. It's like it doesn't. It even with some of the overall market pullbacks, it doesn't really care. It's just been continually just shoving people down and continue flying higher. Forex Hertz pullback. I can't honestly comment on Hertz. That thing is just too much of a news story, and that's a lot too much FOMO there. Alpaca, I don't know if those are stock symbols or you just fell asleep on the keyboard. All the Saigon mushroom stocks, I think this is the future, and they have the products that most get buy an order for these and give me some limit order prices. I look for MF. Oh, they're. What's that book? I read a book about the. What did I read? Oh, that they're penny stocks. Eek. Ugh, yucky. Yeah, these usually something that has the 5 characters always falls into like an OTC / penny stuff. So it's gonna be very hard for me to really touch these, man. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alpaca. This is going to be very difficult to look at because it's just very high momentum. Looks like something bursted here. This one just kind of been holding, potentially looking. Yeah, it's very hard to time those penny stocks because there's low floats, not much volume. So be careful with those. That's all I can say. Brian, what's up, my friend? Disney and Rocket. Yeah, let's look at DIS. This one has just been kind of been hammered around here. Thought I was going to potentially move higher here, but I was having some issues trying to break above that 78.6 percentile move at 137. Never really got above it. Tried knocking on the door multiple times. No one answered. Didn't force kick it in and kind of had a floppy flop here. Coming down to some initial support around 125, which we talked about previously and multiple times. And that 125 is a pretty significant amount of support. If that really fails, that 125, that's definitely going to be looking for around 116 further to the downside there. With that holding that pattern here, potentially looking for 137 again to try to potentially knock on the door some more there. And then Rocket, I believe that thing has been moving because I own something. Okay, sorry, I was thinking of Lemonade. My bad. With Rocket, yeah, this one is again, it's somewhat of a newer stock. Has only had 1 earnings, so this one could be kind of again. People like the housing sector and so forth. With this one, without a doubt, is kind of just building a base here. Anywhere from that 22 to around like the $20 range. It's just kind of bouncing around like we saw with like Space as one that's kind of been just bouncing around and then has a huge tailwind higher and then kind of falls back down. But definitely one to kind of keep an eye on. It doesn't look as terrible as it looks right now, but just have to be define some risk on it though. Michael, are you doing any Trump or Biden plays? I was looking at so my overall elections my prep for my election plays is basically just kind of be flat any short-term dated options, and just keeping my longer dated options and my overall longer dated portfolio stuff. Alpaca says REGI. This is REGI. You said. It's not loading for me. It's spinning. I see it here. Why is it not loading on here? There it goes. I had to put it on the daily side. That's weird. Very strange. Very strange. Is this the solar panel one, Alpaca? Yeah, it's kind of bouncing here on the 21 EMA. Initial support to the 21, which is around $53, and even down to that $50 range would be a significant buying opportunity, I believe. With that, it could easily potentially kind of create that, continue with that upward momentum there. But yeah, that's not a bad looking chart there at all, my friend. Ryan says Fiverr is pretty. Yeah, that has definitely been flying off the hook, right? All right, type, there we go. Yeah, that is definitely one that kind of almost looks like Peloton. really just holding that 5 and 8 moving average is just continue to grind higher. If that trend wants to continue, initial downside support is going to be around $164. If it wants to continue, that $200 is basically what we're looking at for the next target. Again, that short dated support is going to be coming around 164, 165. A little bit more significant support is going to be coming in between the 21 and 34 EMA, so it's going to be around like 150 to 140-ish range. I know that's kind of very vague, but this thing has just been very much a high flyer, so be very careful with that because you don't want to fly too close to the sun because you'll get burnt. Hey, what's up, Edward? How does Instsgram INSG? I don't know, familiar with that one. So heading into earnings, so if you know, my philosophy on earnings is it's a coin flip. So I'm going to play the wonderful GIF here. So everything is a coin flip going to earnings because, again, you could have fantastic numbers, but if the CEO, analyst, or something to say something wrong or look at something that doesn't make sound too much sense, that can really just kind of create a very bad environment and just kind of could sell off. And it's never fun to be in front of that. So going to earnings, because again, earnings has a question mark. It looks like it could be the 4th of November. But initially here, it's kind of been trading here lower here. I'm not sure what this company does. Just looking strictly on the chart and the technical analysis here, it's been holding that 144, so around that $10 range. Initial support around $9.75. That has definitely been one where we need to kind of keep an eye on. Starts breaking below the 200 EMA is going to be very significant, and we'll see on how that one plays out there. But yeah, as long as it stays above the 200 EMA, again, in last earnings, looks like last earnings was pretty much of a flop, and same kind of here. So I'm not going to have again, not too familiar with the industry or the business, but this definitely sign, it's a 5G play, Andrew. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of been beaten up here. It's kind of maybe a sleeper here. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about it. What's my favorite earnings pick for this week? Ryan took the words right out of my mouth. Tesla. Of course, I am a very long-term investor in Tesla, and I've been kind of trading premium around my overall positions. But this one's definitely, I have no idea where this is going to go. I have no idea if the bears are going to come in and then attack it. I don't know if the bulls are going to come in and just take it to the moon. I have no idea what's going to happen or what could happen because it's literally a coin flip, especially on Tesla because of of Elon. The overall just like there's not as much short sellers as there were before, but there's definitely a lot of consensus of like Tesla overvalued. Why does Tesla cost so much? What's their secret sauce? Blah 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 blah. That being said, you can put it to whatever you want to say there. If you're an owner, if you understand the secret sauce and what they have there compared to other cars. With that being said, that there has been some initial resistance at around that $466 range. It's kind of been tapping up to that level and just kind of failing each and every time and not being able to get above some of those key levels there. So this is something that be not too worrisome about, but something to kind of keep a very close eye on, especially with earnings. It's pretty much a kind of again, coin flip, but they're saying basically a $50 move on earnings either direction. So yeah, that's going to be definitely a large move up to the downside. Initially, if it starts breaking below 400, my really stronger downside support is going to be coming around 385, especially on Tesla. It has a pretty fast rebound effect. As you saw with the last quarter, it wasn't too great. And it didn't really do much, but it did kind of sink lower the next couple of days and it's kind of just traded sideways and really didn't do much for the foreseeable future until, of course, they announced that split, had a huge run higher, failed, and now it's kind of just been bouncing around ever since then. So be very careful with Tesla. It's definitely going to be one that's going to be on my radar without a doubt. Of course, Tesla and Netflix are going to be one of the bigger ones as well. What up, the one? Ryan says ARC W. Which one's that? That's not the innovation one. That's the next gen. Okay. Yeah, the ARC funds have just been really outperforming and just doing really fantastic stuff here. This is definitely a very insane amount of folks following the ARC funds and anything that Cathie Woods does, because they are fairly transparent on what they trade and what they buy on a given day. And a lot of people literally just buy whatever ticker Cathie Wood and company are buying and just not even giving a two rats, you know what. So definitely a lot of interesting to go on there. Looking for some initial support around 113 there, Ryan, but this is definitely hitting all-time high here. We are seeing a little bit of slowdown of momentum, so just be very careful there. Edward, you're welcome. Any news on CCL for long-term haul? Ron, I'm not in any of these cruise lines. I've never been on a cruise line. I don't think I ever will. But the cruise lines, the airline industry is definitely going to be, of course, tied to a vaccine and how the economy is able to get back open and different various components in that sense. But you're just going to be literally just drifting in the ocean here and just not really doing much of anything. There's not really too much that we can focus on here to really look on. Just hang tight. If you're a long-term investor here, you're probably just going to be chilling here and drinking your mojito and just waiting for that it can survive the storm. Also, I've been on PEIX options for last month. It's been going crazy. Alcohol seltzer CEO buying. PEIX. Holy moly guacamole. Wow. Okay. That is a heck of a move, and I'm sure you made a nice little chunky chunk there. This looks very familiar, like Peloton again. It's been holding that 5 and 8 moving average, just continuously grinding higher. Looking for some initial support or resistance at around $12. If it can even get to that level, downside support is going to be coming in around $8.70 and even down to around $8 flat. And then some more significant support around that $6.62 range there. But this thing, if you're in it, you're pretty happy because you got the pretty high RSI and volume zone oscillator really printing with very high momentum. So this is definitely going to be a high flyer without a doubt. So be very careful on this one. This one could, again, these really high flyers do kind of sometimes fall out of the sky. So just be very mindful and careful of that. Michael Darkson says Chewy. Yeah, is it CHWY? Yeah, it is. So this has also been one that it did have recently had earnings. Not recently, but it had earnings about a month ago. Didn't do too high, kind of got beaten up. Really held that 50-day SMA. Really then kind of made a strong rebound and now looking to potentially test its all-time highs. Initial short-dated support is going to be around $63.05. Initial more support to the downside is going to be around $60.26 there, my friend. And then we're looking for some targets to the upside, basically trying to test all-time high at $74.84. But if this trend can continue and just really start grinding up higher, we're looking for around $81.21 there. So definitely going to be a lot of fun moving all there. So yes. Jeff, we just did Tesla, but yeah, Tesla is going to be in a very tight trading range because again, we got earnings. It's really going to be kind of potentially just trading around that. They're looking for a move about $50 plus or minus for the week, so that kind of just sets up the overall scenario there. On the one looking at Intel and one second. PXX continue. Any indication of any sizzle move coming? It's gonna be hard, Edward. Like I said, it's gonna be a very high flyer. Where it starts breaking below that 8 EMA and closing aggressively below it with a lot of volume, you could see a potential slightly move down there. Looking at Intel and Snap for earnings this week should be some good swings, to be honest. Yeah, Intel without a doubt has definitely been one that got hit very aggressively from last earnings. If you're not familiar, it basically dropped from around $60 all the way down to like below 48. So it's definitely been one that has been just kind of performing like. Yep, David S. I was gonna do a video to kind of help people within the YouTube membership tab and also on the Patreon page. And if you guys haven't already, for the YouTube members and then the Patreon folks, I'm starting a Tastyworks account. That's going to be a Tastyworks small account, around $2,000, and I'm going to be showing my trades, discussing why I'm doing those trades, and kind of sharing with the group on what my thought processes are behind that. Because a lot of people have requested to do that, and I don't feel too comfortable sharing my larger trading account because I do too many trades in there on a given basis, and to kind of keep up with that. Let's see here. Andrew Harris says about ABT for a long earnings play. So, full disclosure there, Andrew, I don't normally will buy for long-term plays until after earnings. Again, if I am very aggressive on something, I would maybe, let's say, for example, if I had $1,000 or whatever to put into a position, I would add the very small percentage of maybe 15 to 20% initially. And then from that 15-20%, I would add on the way down or on the way up, depending on where the chart was telling me to add, or this one. So definitely on this one, it has been very strange. It's kind of been trending sideways. It has still been going upward towards the right, which we like to see how stocks go if you're going long here. But that 21 EMA is going to be a very key line. That's going to be the 21 and 34 EMA on the daily chart. It's got to be something definitely to kind of move higher here and kind of see how that plays out. That's definitely going to be one to be very interesting to kind of see potentially hold above that 107-ish range to 108, potentially to kind of continue going the upside. Does this have weekly options? Yeah, about $5 plus or minus. So it's pretty significant. So like a 5% move that they're kind of seeing in that market to kind of see how that plays out with this one. Initial downside support is going to be coming in at 21 to 34 EMA, even down to those purple dots, which is the parabolic SAR, so around 105 there. That's going to be definitely a lot of fun to kind of see how that plays out. So I like this one, honestly. I'm not going to be going full YOLO on it, like some people on Wall Street Bets and doing some crazy trades, but be very mindful that, again, earnings are a coin flip and anything can happen there. Be very careful out there. Once I'm having puts on Chewy, A6 strike. What do you think here, sir? 10/23, so they're expiring next week. So yeah, I don't normally do very short-dated trades like that on a straight puts unless you're really just wanting the stock to go down or you know something. It's a little bit too aggressive for my cup of tea, my friend, but I'll take a looky-loo. You have the 65 puts, so it's initial some support there. But since it already had earnings, it's going to be very difficult. That is a support level somewhat. If it does break below 65, that's going to be looking for around $63 for support there. So just be very careful. Any kind of short-dated options, you're definitely going to get a whipsawed around. So the 65 put, it's got pretty interesting open interest here. A lot of volume was traded. But this one is definitely, if you do get a tick down with the overall market, of course, Chewy is going to be going down with it. I think that might be a great opportunity to maybe take some profit off the table there if you have some there. David S says, can I add 2K for you to invest with? David, I'm not a hedge fund manager yet, but I would love to do that one day, to have people to invest and do things like that. Just do my fun strategy that I like to do. Would be a lot of awesomeness. And definitely, David, you are one of the members. I appreciate that. You'll definitely see what I can do with the 2K, and we'll see on how that plays out. And hopefully that will be entertaining and, of course, more or less a learning experience for a lot of people. Susan Lynn says, any suggestions on Nvidia? Yeah, what is, I actually didn't look on Friday how that closed. Yeah, still looking really strong here. Like just like the S&P 500, within like 3 or 4% from all-time highs. Of course, on this one, initial support's going to be coming around 542 to the downside. So that's going to be some initial support there. More downside support's going to be coming around 528. Of course, Nvidia has just been a really monstrous stock and just been a market leader, and just really just kind of taking names, and just, it has been kind of a high flyer. So those sometimes taking a break here. It's nothing to be concerned about. If this can start staying above the 21 and 34 EMA, which is the numbers we just talked about, that overall trend is still looking for around 620. So yeah. So thank you very much. May I ask about BBBY as well? What do you think about them right now? I see them breaking out very strong. Is that Bed Bath & Beyond? Wow, holy moly, yeah, that is definitely has broken out on last earnings. Initial support to the upside is going to be, you're looking for around $26.66. If that can continue, I'm not going to say $41, but $41 is the next upside there. Initial run here is looking very strong here. With this huge gap up, now everyone, the analysts and all the people are trying to reorganize, restructure, redo their formulas to kind of figure out where Bed Bath & Beyond really falls in. Because this stock used to be a pretty high flyer, so we can kind of switch to the weekly side. Actually, let's just go to the monthly side, because this used to be like $80 way back. Yeah, $80.82 way back in 2014. And it just had like, this is literally, if you've never seen a Head and Shoulders pattern before, this is what that is right here. That is the shoulder, head, shoulders, and it just went crashing down. Like that is a terrible looking pattern here. And of course, it's just trying to be restructuring, reformatting things. And of course, that's not been performing too well lately due to the virus and everything. But now with his last earnings, it looked like it just kind of shot out of a cannon here. And it's really outperforming here with a huge gap up here, breaking through a lot of some potential movements here. But yeah, definitely looking for that 2666 be some initial upside. Even to 28 looks like some initial resistance up there. Downside support short term is going to be coming around $22 to $21, and then longer dated around 17ish there. Donald says HUYA. I looked at this one. I was talking to a friend, Dave, about this. This is definitely one that we kind of bought the dip on here a little bit. Whatever, this is merging with some other company. This is that Japanese gaming thing, right? Or sorry, Chinese gaming thing. With that gap down, kind of bought the dip a little bit too early, but that 200 EMA, we're looking for that 618 here, so around $21.83 to hold. If that can hold, we can potentially build a strong base here, get some of those stronger momentums in there, and get some of that sideways action, again, base building to potentially start getting back up to $23 to $25 there. So I hope that helped there, Donald. K Thunder, hey, just saw your chatting on Netflix earnings today. Are you probably did this twice already? Have you done it? We have not done Netflix actually, which is surprising. People, I think Netflix has kind of come and gone. And like, I'm not saying this is just a terrible company or stock. It's just the stock that hasn't just been able to perform as well as it has been in the past. I'm just really choppy. Of course, Disney Plus kind of came in the scenario in the industry and just really kind of took a lot of market share really fast because, again, Disney has very deep pockets. And, of course, Disney's kind of struggling because they have not really much open. Cruise lines and parks are very limited. The movie industry is very limited. They can't shoot much. They can't release much from the movie theaters. But, yeah, it's definitely going to be one to be looking out for. Initially, upside support. Upside resistance can be around $575. We've hit that level twice now and kind of failed. With earnings, again, anything can happen. Reed is a very smart guy, and things can go completely bonkers up or down there. So it's going to be a very large move. I think they're suspecting, what are they saying? They're saying a move about $54. So that's going to be a pretty large move within Netflix there. So to the downside or to the upside. So be very careful on there. For me, potentially be selling some premium here. So yeah. Selling puts on Tesla for TG coming this week. A good idea. Yeah, Leo, I'm gonna be selling some puts as well, but I'm gonna be selling them pretty low. Like I'm not gonna be making too much off of them. I'm looking for like 370 or below, probably, depending on how the week turns out. Because again, it doesn't have earnings until Wednesday, so yeah, I'm not gonna. I usually don't sell puts until the day of. Edward says Party City supplier for Halloween products been consolidating since 3/15, made a the year of thoughts. Yeah, I just actually went into a Party City. They got some great costumes. Of course, this has been in the retail sector, so even just scanning over to the weekly chart, this has just been a continuously downward trend. Again, kind of showing the overall market of the retail environment, but kind of getting a little bit of resurgence here. Nothing to write home about here, but this definitely is initial support around $2.43. If that can hold, we're looking for try to get above that $2.92 to $3 there. Ideas on Cadence. I don't know what that is. What's the ticker there? CADENCE. Is it this one? CADE, CADE? Not sure what this company does, but it's been not even before the pandemic. It is below the 200 days, so nothing truly exciting to talk about there. But now it's kind of been holding some support, so there is definitely some strong support around $7.84 there. Popped above that other key range around $9.83, and now just kind of bouncing between that $11 to around $9.83 there, and just kind of been looking to potentially move higher with an earnings. Definitely going to be a coin flip on the 21st, so that's coming out in like 2 days. To be looking at, oh, it's CNDS. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong one. CDNS. Okay, this is definitely a lot better looking stock here, actually. It's a lot better. It's performing well above the 200 EMA. I like that. Looks like it has earnings coming out tomorrow after the bell. Okay. That's definitely something to be looking at here. Again, with earnings, you got to be very careful out there, folks. That could be swing you in either website direction. But if earnings goes great, we're looking for that 122 to 123 target there. Well, definitely some downside support. It's going to be coming around 113 to even to 109. Do they have weekly options on this? They do not have weekly options, so can't get an accurate what the market makers are suspecting on the move could be. But this is definitely one to be very careful about. It has made a high just a couple days ago. But yeah, some initial support, stronger support is going to be around 109 there. But Johnny Bravo, what's up, my friend? You're saying EVRI. That's a EV stock. Why is my keyboard not working? EVRI. That's a good looking stock there, Johnny. That's a nice looking stock. What do they do here? Let me get my pen and paper. I'm just gonna write this one down just to kind of follow up on it. Just kind of give it a little buzz tomorrow and look at it. Add it to my list on some. Yeah, I like it. It's kind of been like the sleeper, like you're saying. It's been holding that 21 EMA, just continuously grinding higher. having a little bit of issues trying to break above $9.45. That's the key 618. If we can really get above that, we could see some potential stronger upside to around $11.63. Keen hindsight, it has earnings coming up, so be very careful on that one as a friend. John Drake says SPY. Yeah, we can look at SPY. SPY, since it's swing high to swing low here, again, a little bit of sell-off that we had. Some key level, we're not really being able to really close aggressively and get above that 350 level. If we can get above that 350 with some volume and some overall momentum, I think we could potentially get to that all-time high. Because again, we're within like 3.5 to 4% of all-time high, going into a very potentially volatile earnings, and of course then we have the elections on the 3rd of November. This definitely could sway things in either direction, but tomorrow we're just kind of want to, or this week we just want to have it stay above that 343, above the 21 EMA, really just above like that 340 range for the seeable future at least. What up, Kelly D? Thanks for coming by, my friend. Jordan says, I picked up call options for 11/20 expiration for the week AMD and DKings for options on your outlooks. Yeah, let's look at AMD. Of course, AMD, full disclosure, I'm super long-term. This one has been buying in this one as well. But yeah, this one has definitely been one that's been performing well, but it's kind of been a one that's been very much of a sleeper way. That is definitely going to be one where we're seeing some, has a large move higher and then it's kind of builds like this like strong base, strong resistance for quite some time, and then kind of just waits out and potentially sees what happens. With this one, AMD is very much the same way. It has a huge run higher, trade sideways, huge run higher, and just trade sideways. Again, I know that the whole gaming systems and the CPUs and other various things, components for the data farms, especially the servers farms, is doing well. And I think they're trying to acquire a company as well. I can't remember. Oh, what was the name? Oh, I can't think of it. I can't remember, but I think it's trying to acquire some company or trying to buy something. I know Nvidia's thing is being worked as well. They're trying to buy some company in China. With this one, we're looking for some initial support around $81, even coming down to around that $78.69. And that trend would still be okay. With earnings, you never know. Lisa Sue can pull a rabbit out of her hat and still surprise people, and people can be negative things about it. So initially, for me, long term, this target's still trying to get above 100 to around that $110 range. But for your options expiring in November, I don't know if it's going to be able to hit those limits there. Again, I'm not sure what your strike prices were. Oh, it's 30 billion? Oh, wow, that's a lot of money. That is 29 billion less than I have. I'm just joking. So the old D King, as I call it, the DraftKings, has been one that has been a thorn in my thigh. And it's coming down exactly to the 50-day here. If this doesn't hold around the $44 range, and it just kind of crashes through it aggressively, like a stronger red candle, that could easily come down to that $40 range. That being said, initially I have a feeling that this could potentially hold here depending on how the market does, the overall market does this week. But that $44 range could definitely hold there as well. Let's see here. ZZ, with Europe, second wave, you guys should look into European stocks and short them, same as the end of the second wave and lockdown weeks. And going, yeah, I'm honestly not too. I'm not that smart, honestly, ZZ. Like that makes great sense. But just for me to get the timing right and just picking the right ones is just too much. I'm already tracking so many stocks here in the U.S. But great, that's actually good. I'm glad. I hope you got got into some things, because again, that second wave did hit Spain, Germany, and France pretty hard. Thank you, Johnny, for telling people to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Yeah. Again, if you guys hit the like button, again, if you're not familiar, I do use Tastyworks, which is a great trading platform. I am creating a 2K account or $2,000 account for the people who are Patreon and YouTube members. They'll be able to see the trades that I do. I'll talk about the trades. I'll post the trades, what I'm going to be potentially looking for, my get out, my profit targets, and things like that. So hopefully it's kind of been requested to kind of potentially see on how I trade. I try to do the best way possible to kind of educate and help people learn on how I do things. It's going to be everything from options and stocks. So hopefully folks will appreciate that and enjoy that there. By the way, tomorrow is the Black Monday anniversary. Oh, wonderful. GME says Sabless. Yes, that is one. I don't know if makeshifts in chat here today. This one has been gangbusters. We talked about this oval being some potential downside support. We gotta have to move that up some more. This thing has just been completely just killing the short sellers, and is continue to grind higher here. We're hitting any kind of these small bounces here on the 21 EMA. It just bounces off this and just shoots higher, just like a rubber band here, just pops and just like catapults off this 21 EMA, and just continue goes higher. Initially, we had some targets around $15. It has clearly been met here. Now it's kind of going into unknown territory, so that $15 to $16 range is something that could be reached, but we're really looking at the momentum, the moving averages, and how they're crossing. So since it's been moving up so much, the common sense would tell you maybe people want to start taking some profits. Are these people like longer term institutional investors? Who knows? Who cares? Well, if you're in it, you probably care. But that being said, initial support to the downside, first sign of some heavy selling that starts breaking below that $12.30 range. We're going to be looking for some initial support around $10.75 to the downside there. You're welcome, Edward, for the wonderful analysis. And same with you, Lim. Thank you. George says I stopped set a stop loss for D King at 44. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. Leo says FB and Amazon. FB. We did Amazon already, but let's look at FB. FB. It's kind of been lack of course, it's been in the crosshairs with, of course, literally the Congress and Senate forever, and had between the whole sell-off of the tech industry and the Nasdaq, kind of just bouncing around, hitting that key level at around 280 and just kind of failing. It's still above the 20 EMA, but if it doesn't stay, it starts breaking below that 267 to around that, breaking below that 263 to 262. Initial support's going to be coming in around 258. Again, this one's also coming up on earnings, so be very careful. Stronger support's going to be coming around 258 going into earnings to see if we get any kind of drop. But this is not going to be one I want to be buying before earnings. I got to see it plays out. Charlie says a lot of dark pool orders for Fridays for QQQ. Like to the upside? John, what's up, my friend? What's up? Johnny Bravo. Dark pool is something where they use the larger the largest institutional investors kind of use to kind of trade stocks off the main market. Allen. Yes, Duluth Trading Company. Duluth. That is the one. Yes, that made it on my list. Like, that is Allen. Like, I could not remember. That is the one. I remember you suggested this one. I don't know how long it goes, but that is a fantastic looking chart whenever you present it to me. and I wrote it down. I had it on the list, but I just never was able to pull the trigger on this one. I think you brought it to me around this range here, right? Around that, like that $7 range, right? And I said, yeah, it's building a base here. It had a squeeze. If it wants to go higher, but it starts breaking below like the 34 MA, I think I said, it could fail and go below 6. But this thing has had a huge earnings run, killed it on earnings, had that initial support resistance around $13. And now we're seeing that initial same kind of resistance kind of come in here at the 1626 here, Alan. Definitely been one to play this out. It just had a squeeze at fire that's on like basically day 5 or day 5 of this. Initially, these can last for some time. It is getting on the higher band of RSI and volumes on oscillator. But again, we saw that as well previously, just really just kill it, go higher. Let me look at my secret chart here. Yeah. Yep, I see it. Yeah, it's breaking on the weekly side. This thing looks really strong here. Initial stronger upside resistance coming around $19. So if we can stay above that 16, really just stay above that 1450, 1475, Alan, that 1626 and even to that 19. But if this trend wants to continue with any kind of stronger momentum, that $24.58 is in target or in range there. I know it seems insane where we're currently at. Anything can happen, but this thing has just been a rocket ship. I'm sure you're taking a little bit of profit on the table, but yeah, kudos. You're going to get a chest bump for that. That is a great trade. You have the foresight to kind of stay into that, so I'm going to have to give you a round of applause for that. So great trade there, Alan. Proud of you. Michael says, have you done BA? No, we have not done BA. We can look at BA. BA had a large move. It's still kind of in that range of in purgatory. It's still kind of around that 162 range. It's still slightly above it. It's kind of just taking it easy, just chilling, and it's not really doing much. Again, really waiting on potentially government giving more money away, the vaccine coming out whatsoever. It's going to be very difficult. Initially, if you have very strong hands and just holding this and not really looking at it, I think you can initially maybe put in a small percentage here of what your overall trade wants to be. So again, what I mean by that is, like, let's just say if you had $1,000, you would put in 10 or 15% initially to start the position. So it kind of just gets on your radar some more. I know having something on the watch list is not the same as having a position in it. So be very mindful of that. That's definitely could be an opportunity to look out for things like that. Yeah, I'm still feeling sour about that, Alan. That's a great move in Duluth. Are you still any other stocks that you're looking at here, Alan? Because you always come up with some good stocks. You can just do a trailing stop on most platforms. You can just do a trailing stop or just like a percentage stop. Leo says Roku. Yeah, Roku. Good. That is definitely one as well that has been trading phenomenally, lack of better words, with, again, people kind of been down and out about the old Roku, but it's been performing, I believe, fairly well. With this kind of hitting that resistance here at 176 here previously, had a huge run up to break above 200, 208 initially, with earnings on the horizon. Looking for some potential movement to around 250. That being said, that's going to be something of another key level, key target. Just be mindful. We do have earnings coming out. We do have a little bit of drop in RSI and volumes on oscillators. So initial support is basically where it's at, around 220. If it breaks below that, we're looking for around 208 down to the downside. But with the overall target trying to hit 250, but be mindful of that downward target there. Kelly D, what's your thoughts on APPL? You mean Apple? So it's AAPL. I like Apple. I really do. I've been selling a lot of puts in this. I think I'm have still some puts around the 115 to 112 range, and just continuously just kind of holding this, just kind of just trading sideways, just taking that volatility, and just collecting some premium off it. Initially, having some tough times getting above 124, 125. That being said, downside support is going to be coming around 116. It's kind of been bouncing around here. It's not really doing too fantastic here. Either way, it's going to be breaking to 125 to the upside to around 130. And if it breaks 116, it's going to be going to 111 to 110. So depending on what you're doing, again, I'm selling some further out of the money puts here to kind of collect a little bit of premium because the IV is a little bit elevated again. Running to earnings, I think even with the pandemic, Apple's just doing just fine because they're selling a lot of those accessories. Everyone loves the watch now. Not too much on the iPad. I don't think iPads or sales are that great usually. But of course, laptops are going to be going pretty well, I think. Alexander, what's up, my friend? Says PG Iron Condor cooking right now. PG, what's PG? That's Procter Gamble. Yeah. So depending on where you sold these, which I can show you guys now. So I will show you. So Tastyworks, this is the platform that I use to trade my options and stocks and everything I do. My short-dated accounts is through Tastyworks. Fantastic. If you want to be trading, pay a little bit of again, trading stocks is free. Trading options, it's $1 or something a leg, but I think it's better than Webull and Robinhood, but that's just my honest opinion. That being said, if you're interested, I have an affiliate link down below to check out. So PG, depending on what you're doing for Iron Condor there, Alexander, so what you want to be looking for, it looks like it has earnings coming out on the 20th. Okay, so it's got 20th coming out, so be mindful of that. Potentially be selling something further out, at least 33 days to 45 days. And I'm wondering what you're selling. There's not too much going on here. Wow, okay. It looks like these options were just created. So around 135 to 130, and you could be selling like the 150 to 155. So initially, I like how they do this here. You're looking for the probability of profit is around 58%. The probability of making 50% of the premium back is around 78%. That's fantastic. The theta is basically what you're getting paid per day. The time decay is around $2.11, $2.21. I mean, the max profit is around 158, which we're not going to be going for. We're really looking for around 50 to 60% of that profit. And then next, of course, max loss is, of course, if the stock breaks through the 152 or to the downside of below 130-ish. Of course, buying power and effective is around $342. So I think this is a fairly good trade, depending on what you're doing here. A little bit maybe like to have this PG, the calls go maybe further out here a little bit to kind of get above that standard deviation there, just slightly there. But yeah, this has definitely been one. I love Iron Condors, but I haven't really done much on PG there though. You think John saying PM options suggesting a $2.85 move. What do they have? Do they have weekly options? Okay, yes, they're saying so within Thinkorswim here. I'm sorry, within Tastyworks, they're saying just this week they're saying a move of $4 PG. So $4 is there, and then what are they saying in Thinkorswim? They're saying a $5 move initially. So Thinkorswim is usually a higher percent or a larger number compared to Tastyworks. Again, just different on how they use the Black Scholes, Black Swan, whatever they call it, formula on how they calculate different risk to that. With that going said there. Interesting though. Let's see here. Oh, you're doing PM. Okay, sorry, John. I was still looking at PG. My bad. This is Philip Morris, right? Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. That's always a good looking stock there. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Now we're on the same boat. Okay, my bad. My bad. Yep, the old cigarette company. Never go wrong with that. Definitely been one that has just been, again, those cancer sticks, whatever you want to call them, has just been, they're really good at selling them. Like, and Philip Morris is like the number one player to do that. That being said, we're seeing that movement kind of come into play here. Initial stronger supports around $77.20. Upside resistance being 82 to $83 there, as you talked about, John. And then downside support's going to be around $73. So maybe again, like buying an iron condor within above 83 to around $73 would be pretty a good play at the initially, depending on what the earnings trade is there. Oh, thank you, John. Appreciate it. Okay, sorry. Let's see if I missed anything. What's up, Gary B? Greg? How's Nvidia looking? We just covered Nvidia, so Nvidia has just kind of been one that's kind of been, I wouldn't say lackluster, but it's just kind of setting up for a potential run if the overall market wants to take it higher. What I mean by that, it's got to stay above that 542 range there, which is the 21 EMA. Even if it comes down to the 34 EMA around 528 to 525, it's still okay, but we just don't want it down there for too long. We saw that even with the huge market sell-off that not huge market, but the very drastic market sell-offs that we have been having, it just kind of been plopping around here at these ranges here and just really kicked higher. So that 34 has been pretty significant to kind of help it some upside support there. But with the overall target still trying to get above that $600 to $620 there. Derek, kind of off topic, can we talk about your secret chart? The secret chart, we don't talk about the secret chart there, Derek. Secret chart was actually something that I purchased from a developer. It's called the Darvis boxes. So if you're not familiar with the Darvis method, Darvis was it's a great book. It's like How I Made $1 Million in the Market or something like that. It's called. It's a very short book, very, very, very quick, easy read. It's about this guy Nicola Darvis who traded stocks while he was a dancer in like the 50s and 60s, I believe. He was initially from Hungary, which is where my family is from. So kudos out to them. That being said, so this guy was just trading stocks in the time he was just kind of more or less doing swing trades and finding these support and resistance levels. But yeah, definitely been a lot of fun to kind of see the play there. To kind of see how that plays out. But definitely, I have to. I don't know if I'm able to share it though, because I paid for it. That's only the kicker there. Alan Vincent saying go Dodgers. Let's see. You're looking for McDonald's, Mickey D, MCD. The old MCD here, looking for, yeah, just a nice steady Eddie grinder. Love it. It's just been performing super well. It's nothing sexy. It just sells hamburgers, it sells fries, and it sells not good coffee, in my opinion. But just kind of grinding higher, looking for this trend continued. Downside support's going to be coming around 223 to even down to 220. Definitely going to be a strong mover with the overall market. Looking for that initial. If it can stay above that 21 to 34 EMA, this is still trying to head to around that $246 range there. Alan says, thank you very much. I think like about when I was doing a little bit in the revenue stream, this invests in the new machines to make a reasonable FP for healthcare. This seems a lot. Oh, nice. But PPE for healthcare. That's awesome. Let's see here. Oh, Costco, where it be going? So I love my Costco. This thing is going to the moon. Like this thing has taken off. It has its fuel. It is ready to go. It's got its Lunchables. It's ready to go. Zoom zoom. And it has been going zoom zoom again. Not even touching the 8 EMA. It's just been holding that 5 EMA, which is again a little concerning. It hasn't touched the high level of the RSI yet. But initial stronger support resistance coming in around that $383 range. So that's going to be something to be very careful and mindful about there. Initially, this could, again, run as high as it wants to go with the overall target around 416. But this thing has been really popping off. Initial support, short-term support, really short-term support is coming around 377 and then down to around 372 with significant more support coming in all the way down to around 363, even down to 350 with super strong support around 343. I know that seems like a lot of numbers that just threw at you, but just be very mindful. Like, again, it's a nice stairway up, but it's usually an elevator shot down if anything happens or anything kind of comes out with the overall whatever part of the industry and so forth like that. So super mindful of that and be very careful. And if you haven't already, maybe take a little bit of profit. That's just my opinion there, my friend, depending on what your horizon is. John says TMO. Yeah, Thermo Fisher is definitely one that's reporting on earnings. I think it's on Wednesday morning, stand me if I'm corrected. So Wednesday before the bell. This thing has been gangbusters. Like, yikes. Just like Costco, we just talked about, it's been holding that 5 and 8 moving average, just continue to grind higher here, and just performing super well here. There's definitely something to look at, some movement there, and you could really see in that how that trades here. Looking for some initial slowdown method here. We're not hitting the high level RSI, but be very mindful again. Earnings on the corner. Always a little bit risky to add a position or go extremely long or short going into earnings. So just be very mindful of that. This is just not my cup of tea. But yeah, we did Disney. Disney's holding around 124, 125. That can hold there. We're going to be looking for some upside to around that 137. Downside support for breaks below 124, 125, around 116. David S., is the plug for the Darvis system a Tastywork plugin? David, it's not a plugin for the Tastywork. It's a plugin. So Tastyworks does a terrible job with charts. They have charts, but it doesn't do very well. Like, I can show it to you. Like you can see here, the charts aren't really great. They're not really in depth. You can't draw too much on them like I do with my normal charts. They got indicators and stuff here. Nothing too extensive. There's a lot of things you can add on here, but there's not many like customization or custom codes that you can add on there like you can with Thinkorswim. Can I share the affiliate link? It should be in the description. 1 second. Let me look here. Let's see here. I think I have it here. I log in. Let's see here. Yep, here it is. So if you do hit on the affiliate link, David, for the Tastyworks account, which I do appreciate, it helps me out. It puts my drawing into the Tesla. that I want to get from them. Basically, this is going to be the Tastyworks link there. With that, it's definitely going to be something that I'm looking at. So if you email, I think they're doing, Alan, if you sign up, and again, if you're moving over $2,000, I think they give you 100 free shares or 10 free contracts for Tastyworks. I think, if I remember right, that's what they do. Tastyworks.com. Yeah. So they're still doing this. They're still doing, if you open up a brand new account, and if you use my link, you can get the 10 options or 10 free shares on us if you move over $2,000. But you have to double check with support. Sometimes I've had some people use my link and some people have just added it. They sometimes have to kind of, support's fantastic. They'll get to you within a couple hours once you put in the ticket. And they're Monday through Friday, Monday 7 days a week. So I love Tastyworks. I'm not just trying to say it because I want everyone to hit on my affiliate link. But I use it day in, day out, and I love them there. Who can we look at? W, Ken? Yes, we can look at W. W is something that I'm looking at as well. So that's a Wayfair. Kind of been in a very strange pattern here. Again, Wayfair, of course, the furniture business, and it's just been really just kind of ripping higher. Of course, everyone's just buying everything online now. Had a huge kind of sell-off with the overall market that we saw, came down significantly, kind of holding that 21 EMA here, 34 EMA, very much kind of creating these moving averages, kind of spaghetti in together here, and kind of trading in between that like 290 to around 300 range. I'm really looking for this to kind of hold this pattern here, to be quite honest here. I'm selling some puts below like the 275 to 280 level. But going in here, we're looking for this potentially to shoot higher here with any kind of good positive news to around that 325 to the 350 range there. If that doesn't work and if it wants to go to the downside, if it's breaking below 278, I have to get out of my positions there. But be very mindful. We got earnings on the horizon, so that's something to kind of keep an eye out there. Joe Neal, I just found your channel this week. Keep up the good videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Clayton says Logitech. Yeah. Logitech. I'm a Logitech fanboy. Love their products. Actually need to get a new keyboard from them and a new mouse. This one is just, the clicker is just kind of a little too loud. I want to get one of the more quieter stealth ones, whatever they call them now. But yeah. Because again, they acquired Blue microphones, and I love their Blue microphones. So that's what I'm currently using to talk to you guys over this beautiful microphone that I have in front of me. That being said, let's look at the chart here. Of course, this has been been performing very well. Of course, everyone needs to buy webcams, keyboards, and everything else to be at home and do their jobs, so forth, remote. That being said, with earnings on the horizon, I think it has earnings on Monday after the bell. Yeah, Monday after the bell. Definitely been one to kind of keep an eye on and be very careful on. Again, I would hope it does well. I do have some positions in it longer term. That being said, I don't think this has weekly options either. It doesn't have weekly options. So this is going to be something you have to be very mindful about on how the potentially move could happen. Initially, downside support is going to be around 21 to 34 EMA. Even with the whole market that took down, it didn't really touch Logitech very much. Looking for some initial support around 75, even down to 74 for some downside support. Initial target to the upside is well above $85 to $90. $100 is definitely something to kind of look at moving into the overall target there. Alan says, Tractor Supply have an earnings coming up. Yes, I love me some Tractors Supplies. Everyone wants to be that stay-at-home gardener or stay-at-home farmer. This has definitely been one. This is a really nice setup here, honestly, Alan. If you know anything, the kind of cup of tea I like. It's really been holding a very nice pattern here. Going into earnings, this doesn't do too hot on earnings. It looks like most of the times, like I remember last earnings, it kind of gave back quite a bit here, and just really didn't do too very much. But it didn't break below 21 EMA, so it didn't really hinder that overall movement there. So the 21 and the 34 EMA is still that trend continuing. Again, with the overall market sell-off, we did see some movement down below 21 EMA. But now we have slightly recovered here. Initial support's going to be coming around 145 and even down to 143 to the downside. This does not have weekly options, does it? It does. So there's something about $8.50 move here. So that's going to be slightly significant there to the downside. So where it's trading at around $53, we're going to be looking for basically like 145. Again, that's where it hits that level, which we just talked about, some initial support there. So yeah, I love the stock. I'm going to be probably selling some puts this week, Alan, to kind of collect a little bit of premium and kind of see how this one plays out, though. You've probably been in this since like let me guess, you probably got into this at like $63.89. That was Alan down here buying this up down here. He's like, guys, I'm gonna triple my money in 2 months. That's Alan for you. Joel says Uber. Yes. How did Uber close on Friday? I actually did not watch that one close. How did that? Ooh, okay. So this one has definitely been one hitting. If Mr. Bear's watching or listening, you called it. You're saying about that invisible line that we've been talking about for a little bit, around that $38 to $39 range. Failed here once, failed here again, and then failed once again, coming back down to that 200 EMA, looking for some initial support around that $34 to $33 range. To kind of see how this plays out. Definitely been one that's been on my radar to potentially adding calls, longer dated calls. Because again, even love it, hate it, Uber is not going to be going anywhere, I don't believe, especially it's taking over somewhat of the Uber Eats. And of course, if the economy does get back and the virus gets canceled, I think we can easily see Uber really start printing some cash here, because it's got enough cash on hand for at least, I think, currently state is like 12 or 15 months. So it's going to be very strong looking forth. If that really breaks, we're looking for some more downside support around $31 there. So definitely going to be one to kind of keep a very close eye on. I love this potentially play here, even though it's been down. Want to be very careful. Again, has earnings coming up there as well. Vincent says, Workhorse, did they win? I have no idea what they do, what they're doing over there. Whoops. With that overall movement that we're seeing in Workhorse, this in the contract has been kicked around, been left and right. I don't have any more shares in this, honestly. This could fly, of course, if it gets the contract. Again, if you get $1 billion in your company or business, it's definitely something to get exciting about. That being said, this thing has been really much kind of bombarded on YouTube and Twitter, on just everyone just kind of giving their 2 cents to it. That being said here, I'll give you my 2 cents. It's been bouncing off that 50-day here on the daily side. Initial support's going to be coming around that $21 to $22 range. Sorry, $21 to the 21.20 range to the downside support. If that can hold, we can easily kind of keep this trend going here. But it has crossed between the 5 and 8 have crossed the 21 EMA. But this has definitely been a very seesaw, kind of a uneven balanced stock here, and it can literally just come back from the dead and just jump up well above a 25. I can see if any kind of a good peeps or news comes out of anything, I think Workhorse could really jump significantly higher. Workhorse website has been down this afternoon. Really? Huh. Maybe they're just doing some kind of update, or it's interesting. Too many people crashed it. What's up, Trevor? We haven't done anything on the Nasdaq, but we can look at the Nasdaq, like the futures, Nasdaq futures, yeah. So definitely swing high to swing low. Looking if we can stay above that 11,790-ish range, looks pretty strong here, even down to that 1150 like you're talking about. Some initial stronger support there. Again, we're up 100 points, nearly 1% here as of we're talking now. If that can stay above that range, but definitely kind of been ping-ponging around. We're not seeing an aggressive movement to the downside unless we start seeing and closing below that 11,775 to the downside there. So super mindful of that there. Initial still target is still trying to hit that all-time high as we talk about around 1,250. But once it hits that 12,000, I think we could get another bit of pullback. I don't know if we're going to be able to break through those key levels in any kind of sense before the election. Thank you, Alan. Workhorse. Did I miss something? You're welcome. John says Sam. That's Sam's Club. Oh, Boston beer. Wow, this has been wow. What the heck? That looks fantastic. Wow, that's been popping. Selling a lot of beers because if we look at I'm not a beer person, but we look at it's a Bud, but yeah, it's been doing complete opposite. I have know nothing about beer, so I don't know. I just know a lot of people give you crap if you drink a Bud Light, which I don't. With that being said, we're looking for that support initially. Again, like the 21 to 34 MA to the downside. Again, has earnings on the horizon as well on the 22nd. That is definitely something to be looking at here to the downside. It's just been a very strong stock. Like even the last quarter, literally had a huge jump higher. Are they like buying some kind of like marijuana drink company or something like that? It's just what it really kind of looks like. Basically, people love Sam Adams. Okay. I know Sam Adams Bud owns so many different little subsidiaries and little small. They call it craftsman brewing companies, but it's really just all coming from the same place, I think. Anywho, without upsetting, excuse me, any master brewers on the channel here. 21 to 34 initially to the downside, but looking forward to kind of potentially break well above that $1,000 range. But yeah. I'll laughing. I think here we'll be going to be buying a weed company that over there. Who says, can we look at SNE? Is that the, I was thinking of SE. Sony. Yeah, Sam Adams is a fantastic looking stock. With this looking forward, like poor Sony, even though of course their PlayStation 5 is coming out and all that fantastic, great news with that, it just has not been performing very well and just kind of again broke below that parabolic that box that we had with the squeeze, shot lower, hitting that 144 range. Hopefully it stays above or stays around that $73 to $72 range. If it doesn't, further to the downside, we're looking for around $70 to $68. Definitely something that is going to be very difficult to be looking around and trading, which is strange again with the potential great news they have on the horizon to potentially with the new system coming out. Again, I wouldn't want to be buying this because again, even though the news is great, they got all this new technology, the new system coming out, the chart It's just not really pretty because again, it's Sony overall as a company. It's not like this is just the PlayStation. I don't know what the part of the PlayStation gaming brand or arm of the company makes, or what percentage it makes out of the whole company. But again, Sony, of course, sells a lot of TVs. They're in movies, all kinds of things. So definitely need to see how that earnings comes out as well, because they have earnings coming out very soon. Santa has been the only true hard seltzer brand, and it's that is what has been pushing their sales up. Okay. Imagine a CBD and alcohol Coca-Cola. I think they're working on it, right? CBD brew. It's a wacky beer line. Okay. Oh, they own Truly. Wow, I see that everyone buy that at Costco. It's that, and then what's the white? What is it called? White claw, white clam. I don't know. One of those called. I see everyone talk about that, and yeah, those people need to drink their hard seltzer with vodka, whatever it is in it. Interesting, without a doubt. Something that I don't drink very much, so I have no idea on what everything contains. White Claw, yeah, that's what it is. I call it white clams. I don't think people want to drink clam juice, right? Unless you're from like Rhode Island or New England, Asia. I don't really drink very much. I drink maybe a mixed drink or a glass of wine once a quarter, maybe, whichever, for occasions, for like someone's birthday, some kind of larger celebration. So nothing really there to kind of look at. Um, Joel says, "What about Twitter?" Of course, this is the favorite format of like any politician in this day and age, is through the Twitter verse. And this one, can't say it hasn't been doing too fantastic. It's Twitter, for God's sakes. Of course, it's kind of just been ramping up and down again to social media climb. I'm just going to be scanning out to the weekly side here. From the previous swing high to previous swing low, we did hit an all-time high just previously last week. This trend is still trying to go higher. Initially, next target's be around $52.84 to the upside. With that being said, some downside support's going to be coming around 43 on that chart there. Again, with earnings on the horizon as well, so be very mindful of that there. David S says, I switched to gin. Sam's doubled EPS estimate for last quarter, and of course, the new estimated EPS is slightly higher than this quarter. I have no idea who owns White Claw. Oh my god, I said clams again. Yeah, Costco's definitely been on fire, yes. So who does the stock work after you invest? Who does stocks work after you invest? So who does? I'm not sure what that sense. I'm not sure what you mean there, John Wayne. Who does stock work after you invest? I'm trying to, maybe I'm reading that wrong, but that doesn't make too much sense to me. My brain is a little bit of tired-ish, but no comprehende there. So how does stocks work after you invest? What do you mean, how does stocks work after you invest? I normally, if I invest in stock, I'm looking for a little bit of longer term time horizon. But mostly if I'm doing some very short initial short-term trading, it's just going to be around options. I hope that makes sense, John. I hope that I'm understanding it right. Kev T says, what did you already do Alibaba? We have not done Alibaba, but we can do Alibaba. This one, of course, another one, been performing super well here. Holding that 34 to 21 to 34 EMA and just been performing super well here. Trying to get above that 310 range. Initially, we have some higher dated targets. Let me pull up a fib here for you real fast. Yeah, hitting that car target around 307. So the next target's around 318 to $319. $319 to the upside with the old Alibaba. Initial support to the downside is going to be around basically 300 to 298 and then around 290-ish range there. Can you look at Walgreens? What is Walgreens ticker symbol? I always forget. It's like some weird like Walgreens Alliance or something weird. Yeah, WBA, that's what it is. So, who asked about this one? Joe. So this is just a continuously downtrend here. This is definitely something that is not my favorite stuff to look at, because even though Walgreens I think is a great operator, that's where if I need Band-Aids or I need to go get anything ASAP, if I can't get it on Amazon the same day, Walgreens is my stop. And yeah, great, fantastic service there and everything. But how many people are actually going shopping there for groceries and other various components there? Minus the pharmaceutical business. That being said, this is setting up for a squeeze. Earnings was not that terrible. If it can, the squeeze could be setting up to fire long. What we mean by that, by firing it long, we could see some initial targets around 39 to 40, and then all the way up to around that 41 to well above that $44 range. Again, that's not going to happen overnight. As we're talking about Walgreens here, not Tesla. So this definitely could be something that could be trading sideways for some time, even get to load around 35 or below to kind of just tread water and just kind of see how everything plays out. It has to be a pretty large move to the upside to really get this thing get up and moving here. Yeah, we can look at Intel. So Intel definitely has earnings this coming week, as on Thursday after the bell. This is, of course, one that got really ransacked on last earnings and came down substantially to the downside. Kind of just traded sideways here a little bit. That has definitely been one. It's kind of just been trading sideways ever since then. Basically, we have this box around here. Finally broke above that $52 range, and now it's trying to look for some potential highs here. Again, going to earnings, complete coin flip. Be very mindful that anything can happen there. Looking for some initial targets around 55 and even downsides around 52. So that's on Intel there. Can we look at Rocket? Okay, now everyone's coming in here, boys. Oh, Rocket. Got some hot folks coming in here. Rocket Company. So Rocket Company, of course, Rocket Mortgages has just been since his last quarter, sold off substantially, and could be just trading sideways ever since. They're just kind of bouncing below that 20 to around 23-ish range, and it continues just bouncing around, not doing much of anything on the sense of outperforming, underperforming, just kind of just been in a, lack of a better words, a coma, and just kind of baselining here. Initial short-term support's going to be around $21.57. That being said, we're looking for this trend continue. We're going to be looking for around $25 there. David says, can we look at MFEDF? What in the world? Is this one of those trades that I'm going to write MDDF? I hope it's not a penny stock. Sadly, there's not going to be much I can be add here, David. I don't really do penny stocks very well because, again, this is not a very well formulated stock or chart here because, again, you're getting these huge swings higher and lowers that really just kind of create a false positive or false negative, depending on how you look at it, into the analysis. Initially, if we're just looking at it from here, from this last squeeze, it's continued to try to go higher here. Initial support on the short dated side is going to be around 83 cents and even down to that $70 cents there. Let's look up Central. It says $70, but it's only 70 cents. But yeah, not my cup of tea to trade penny stocks though. Been there, done that. Yeah, we already did Nvidia. We actually did Sam already, Mohammed. We just covered Sam. That's the beverage company or the beer company. Did we do ABT, John? I don't remember, but we'll do it again. This one has earnings as well coming up this week. Initially, kind of holding that 21 to 34 EMA, so staying above 107 to 105. Initially, it's been having a little bit of issues trying to get above that 111 to 110 range. Definitely just something to keep an eye out, looking for that 115 to really come into play to get that further upside there. A Cinemark could be a huge game changer. Can it? Cinemark. It definitely could be bought up by someone, but the overall chart's still kind of just trending lower with a huge double top here and just kind of just continuing grinding lower, almost hitting its previous low all the way back in that February, March area time frame there. So be very careful on that one. Yes, it could have a bounce. They could be acquired by someone and have a huge bounce. So I usually don't like to comment on those because, again, anything can change on any kind of news article. But as of right now, the chart doesn't look very pretty at all. Alan says Ford can get some long-term options last week on the dip. I am thinking of increasing my long-term position. Thoughts? Yeah, Ford, it finally broke above that $7 range, $7.30 range. I had some longer dated options here. I must have gotten out of them because I'm not seeing them here in my list here. That's weird. I thought I had longer dated options. Maybe I just had stock here. Maybe I did this well. Yeah. Initially, this thing has just been really beaten up, as you probably know, Alan. Initially, short dated support is going to be coming around that $7 range, basically, to be quite exactly. Initially, looking for that to continue to go higher. If that trend can continue, be mindful of earnings. Looking for around $8.42 with downside support around $7.80. But this thing on the long-term side, if we're looking here on the weekly chart, it's looking like it could be setting up for a nice little move higher to get above that $8.42 range with the initial swing. And if this trend can continue, looking to try to break above 10. Again, we're talking about Ford Motor Company. When I talk about Tesla, I know they're trying to compete within the EV market with they're making their like Mustang EV SUV. Like what? Like yeah, I said it's a Mustang. That's an SUV, so it's definitely like what do you mean? Kind of scenario there, but I think that Ford is. I don't think it's going to be going anywhere. Of course, they got the Bronco coming out. Of course, the F-150 is still the number one truck selling in the United States. So, yeah, I think Ford. It's just not going to be the most sexiest company. I think you already know that, though, Alan. What up, Makeshift? I talked about your Makeshift earlier about your plays in GameStop. How do ODTE options work? Um, mm, so by ODT, you mean 0-day options? Like they're expired already? Did I understand that question right there, AV? So if you're buying options that are expiring that day, and again, if you're buying it, you really need it to be in the money to kind of collect any kind of boom or stock or what you're looking at. Depending on what industry you're looking at, be very careful with that because again, if you don't have the capital in your account, you get margin called, and of course that can really be not a fun day there without a doubt. Be very mindful of that. But yeah, so if you're just talking about with SPX, you have to be very careful of that. So SPX, yes, I'm pretty sure. Like sounds like you know already, AV. That it is a cash settled account. There actually is no physical shares traded in it. It's just like you said, like that index that tracks things. With that being said, I do trade this a lot for options because it's fantastic because of it. Um, but I sell a lot of premium. I'm not buying straight up options in this sometimes. So be very mindful of that. Again, it's cash settled. So if your options are in the money, you get cash. Either if it's put or calls, if it's in the money, you always get that cash settled. You don't have to close them out going into earnings. All right, let's see. Ken still has a Nokia. I'm not getting the 12 mini. No, I got the 11 Pro Max. More than enough that I need. Dane says, "What do you think about the mutual fund company?" Oh wow, mutual funds. Wow, we're going there. No offense, but I don't know. Uh, wow, that's a great move there. That's wow. I didn't even know this company existed. To be quite honest, that is a great move. That's definitely something to look out for. Let me look on the. It hasn't been performing that very well, but it had some substantial moves here recently with earnings on the horizon. That's a great move. Like I would be a little bit scared to kind of hold this into earnings because it has already had a large move higher there. Charles says, check out PLD Ken, the best trend ever. Amazing company too. PLD. Okay, you're hyping it up there. The trend's looking okay. Yeah, it looks in pretty good between the 50-day, kind of bouncing around here a little bit. Nothing too fantastic. I'm not sure what the company does. But yeah, looks like a pretty good move with earnings coming out on Tuesday. Be very mindful of that. Looks like the last couple earnings were pretty good here. Last little move higher here. Initial support really had a huge downturn here with the move. I don't think this has weekly options. It does not have weekly options, so it's a little bit difficult to see what potentially the movements could be. But that being said, this is definitely something that has bounced back pretty fast if it does go down. So I like it. Not too bad. Good dividend growth. Hmm. Yeah, it's got a nice dividend. I don't honestly really look at much dividend here anymore because of I just trade so often. I like the big phones. I when I first got the iPhone 6 Plus came out. That's the first big phone, I believe it was, and that's when I got it. And I fell in love with the big phone. Christopher, what's up, my friend? Can you look at Brookfield? Is Brookfield the investment property company that does malls there, Chris? BEPC. Holy moly. I guess this is not this is a crazy looking stock here. Wow, Chris. This has definitely been going very high here. That's a great looking chart there, my friend. Wow. Holy moly. That is great. Yeah, nothing really to add there. Like, this has just been a sky high here. Like, let me look on the 4-hour chart. Initially looking for some potentially slowdown if it starts getting closer to the 21 EMA and is kind of coasting into that. But this thing looks strong AF, as they say. That is a strong looking stock. It's hard to get into that right now. Need to maybe kind of let it slow down and kind of just chill for a little bit. So I don't know if Netflix or Tesla are going to be going up on earnings, but being a longer term Tesla investor, if it does come down to a certain price, aka below that 384 is definitely going to be something I'll be adding into my overall position, even down to that 350 range is something I'll be adding into it. Again, with Tesla, as you probably know, it's literally a coin flip. What Elon says and what the analysts say and how they argue over the conference call, it's always a very fun and great time to listen and enjoy those various different calls. That being said, even with Netflix, again, the chart doesn't look too pretty on Netflix. Again, it's been hitting this top here around 350 to 360, 375, and just kind of just continue just being beat down, not being able to really get above it. That being said, if they come out and they say they're having the new season of Tiger King or something, I'm just joking, and just they can really take the stock higher. Again, Reed, the CEO of Netflix, a super smart guy. Definitely going to see how this plays out. I don't own Netflix, and I'm potentially not going to be trading in Netflix. If I do, I'll be selling some puts or some calls, and very far out standard deviation patterns there. Yeah, Netflix crashed heavily last time, so it was a very bad scenario that I know a lot of people that went straight calls and they got IV crushed and slapped across the face there. Makeshift is what about Snap? Yeah, Snap. Snap is one that's been performing fairly well here, even substantially better than Facebook, Twitter. Hitting that initial level at $28.51. With the overall goal, if the trend can continue here with the 5 and 8 moving averages here, really looking for that next target around $36. Downside support is going to be coming around $26.83 though, their makeshift. Guys, there's a couple more stocks. I'm going to be calling it a night here soon. Been streaming for nearly 2 hours, so needed to get my beauty sleep. I promise you, folks, I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming this week because, again, we have Netflix earnings on Tuesday after the bell. And, of course, we have Tesla and Chipotle the following day. So we're going to be doing a lot of live streams there, and I promise I'll get to a lot of people's stocks and opportunities there. And before I let you go, please don't forget to like and subscribe, folks. And if you haven't already, check out the Patreon page. You want to support the channel, and as well as a YouTube membership tab. And thank you guys so very much. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.